Hello and welcome to Frontline Conversations. The recent DelhiBlast has thrown new challenges for the security establishment. So today we are joined by a former IPS officer and a senior security expert, Mr. Yashovardhan Azad. He has also worked as Special Director, Intelligence Bureau and Secretary Security, Government of India. Mr. Azad will help us understand the incident and what it means for national security. We will also discuss with him the changing contours of terrorism and the migration of threat from line of control in Jammu and Kashmir to bigger Indian cities. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for inviting me.
How do you read Delhi Blast incident in terms of its intent, capability and timing? What stands out prominently?
I think the Delhi Blast is an inflection point. It's a knock. It's a reminder for our internal security system. Delhi was safe for the last 14 years. And this blast coming after this much time tells us that terrorism is something which we have to face. It's a long road ahead. In that respect, it has shook us out of our lethargy, out of our complacency. And it is also a very, very important reminder that some of the basic aspects of policing and counterterrorism should not be lost sight of. And I look at it as a turning point that today, when you are sure that with the declining figures of terrorism, we can afford to look at other areas, but no, counterterrorism is an ongoing process. And it will keep continuing.
So, in this case, where do you see the biggest gaps between intelligence gathering, technical surveillance, and coordination?
But if you're talking in terms of security gaps, yes, I think security gaps are there. I'm not one of those ones who says that during my time everything was good and now things have deteriorated. That's not true. But yes, there are certain things which have changed. For example, the reliance on technology has become very, very all-pervasive. And maybe in the process we have lost sight of, the human intelligence, which is actually the core substance of intelligence activities. There's another thing which technology can be a great help, but technology is also used by the opposite, the criminals. So therefore, three things if you're talking about gaps, which I can tell you. See, the first gap is that in a society which is, democratic, which is supposed to be societal in the sense that people are engaging amongst themselves. In Al-Falah University, this module which was building up for 2.5 years, nobody reported. Nobody said anything. Where was community policing? Not even a single constable or anyone in the had to be told. And the doctors who were there, some of the doctors, out of fear, maybe did not record. Some were perhaps complicit. And some were just aloof. So none of the staff or anyone thought it fit to bring it to the notice of anyone. I think that's a very serious flaw, not only in community policing, but also in our society.
So can we say that our preventive human intelligence gathering networks are weak?
Yeah, I would say our societal networks are weak.
Okay.
Isn't a common man supposed to inform somebody or the other? So yes, the outreach system should improve on the part of the police, but on the other hand, the society itself needs to respond. The second is that after the seizure of 2,900 kgs of ammonium nitrate, when this man escaped, Dr. Umar.
Yes, the suspected
suicide bomber. And he just drove 60 kilometers to Delhi without being approached by any Naka. Third is that you have an AI-enabled smart control room. So an AI-enabled smart control room should be able to detect a vehicle which is loitering around the area for about so many hours, 11, 12 hours. So yes, there are gaps. And the other thing is, the last point, which is very important, is that for the last 2.5 years, this module was building up, and no state intelligence or the IB got a whiff of it. So I think these are gaps. But I would again reiterate that in the last 14 years, Delhi was safe. So yes, 99% of the times you're able to prevent and stop acts of terrorism from being activated. But yes, sometimes one slips through the cracks.
Right. So, despite heavy security and surveillance architecture, infrastructure, why Delhi, the national capital, remains vulnerable to such attacks?
A capital or metros will always be susceptible to terrorist attack, because that is where, you see, terrorism is created in the minds of people. Terrorism is supposed to impact people. Fear, a kind of a dread. And that's why terrorism also emanates from a kind of a perverted psychology. So the idea comes in the mind, and the idea is to perpetrate terror in the minds of the people. And metros are the best places, because if you do one blast at a railway station, it creates such a lot of media hype. It creates a kind of a dread all over. It reaches across the world. And that's why metros will always be susceptible.
Sir, this brings me to a very important question. We have seen that in this white terror module, there are people who are highly educated. They are science students, they are the doctors, but highly radicalized. And investigations indicate that they are part of local networks.
So, well, uh, gone are the days when you would think of acts of terrorism being committed by some lowly blazed, uneducated individual who have just been indoctrinated. If you see even Osama or Zawari, these are educated people. Zawari was a doctor. And if you see the 9/11 attacks, again they were committed by what? Aeronautical engineers, pilots. They were all highly educated. They were trained in Berlin. I mean, in West Germany. Sorry. And if you remember, the ISIS module, which had great attraction in Kerala, and quite a few youth, educated, had gone to the ISIS battlefield. Some of them died, some of them ran away. And when they were sort of interrogated, they said that the lure on the internet was extremely attractive, alluring. And that's why they went. One of the professors of Kerala said that they did not go to kill others, but they went for an elevated Islamic existence, complete purity, rule of Islam. So it was a very, very clever kind of an indoctrination. Today, that's why this kind of a module reflects that dangerous bit of radicalization is the most important thing we have to counter. And this radicalization amongst the educated youth, among doctors who are meant to save lives, means it's a very serious situation. And not only this, if you see the Raisin module, the Gujarat module, again, you found a doctor from Telangana, and this is a Gujarat module. Raisin does not have an antidote, mind you. So, yes, the battle now, the most important part of counter-terror program has to be de-radicalization.
So, a related question. Several suspects from different states have been arrested. So, if we look at the geography and the profiles, so is there any pattern that emerges?
Well, I would say that the linkages of these modules are in various states. It started in J&K, Al Falah, then goes over to UP, And then, of course, you'll see wherever the links are, over the, because this is a long chain. You have to go to the dealers who are involved, the couriers, the runners, the handlers, the money suppliers. So it's a huge thing. Maybe it's across the country. Now, for example, you have heard that the handler was from Turkey. And from there, a plan was given. We still have to find out the source of funding. 10 lakhs were spent, I think. 26 lakhs were collected by them. And where was the money coming from? Was it coming from abroad? Was cryptocurrency used? What did the handlers say? What is the electronic evidence in terms of... So there are many things. So these linkages only reveal that the terror network from J&K has certainly come down, which is dangerous, which is very dangerous. But the nerve of terrorism is still in Kashmir because it's born out of that.
Right. So in recent cases, we have seen that the investigation agencies heavily rely on digital trails. So I would like to understand to which extent technology helps and to which extent technology complicates the investigation.
Well, that's a very, very important question, and it's a question which is being faced by the intelligence agencies all over the world. That with the advent of technology, is technology the end all and be all of intelligence? No, the human asset is always the best asset, and some of the best intelligence works or the intelligence operations which had been successful is because of the human asset. So technology is fine, but technology may get wrong also many times. Technology can also make you a little lenient, a little complacent as it. So I think, no, this is a time to sort of calibrate. Of course, digital highway leads you to places. But then the reliance on the human part, the manual part, is extremely essential, as important as the reliance on technology.
This comment talks about zero tolerance and muscular security. So when you look at the ground reality and the political messaging, in your opinion, is there any mismatch or...
Ashutosh, I have very clear views about this muscular approach and security business. I don't believe in any kind of a muscular approach. There is no such thing as muscular approach. And of course, muscular approach does not have any place in counter-terror. And let me tell you another thing. I think I am of the strong view when we are talking, inevitably talk of Kashmir will come, as you rightly raised it, that politically is it a good strategy? You see, if you have elected government, you must give it the power. I think in a democracy, the whole security paradigm or the security system should remain a current elected chief minister. In a counter-terror, it is important to get the support of the people. And who will get the support of the people are the representatives of the people, so that people have faith in the system. So you have a new system, new CM. You should believe in him. You should give him all the year. It will definitely be, a better approach. The other thing you talk about zero tolerance. What is zero tolerance? If any crime is committed, you are supposed to act. That is zero tolerance.
Right.
What else is it? But muscular approach, I don't believe in. And what has muscular approach given you? After all, they continued. Everything has continued. And as I told you, that terrorism, as long as the nerve center is there, Kashmir, let me tell you another thing. I don't think the Kashmir problem can be solved. It can only be managed. To resolve the problem, you will take another 3 decades. Till, the Kashmir becomes absolutely, economically strong. Everyone has got a job. There is an industry boost. There is a tourism boost. So then only these things will be. In the meantime, you have to manage through the people.
And the democratic and the political processes are equally important.
Absolutely. That is a part of the counterterrorism approach. And if you're only applying a police or EA approach, it will not.
Right, right. A few days before Delhi blast, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval claimed that terrorism in India has been contained, it has been countered. And he claimed that not even a single major terrorist attack has taken place outside Jammu and Kashmir in the past 1 decade. So, how do you look at such claims?
Well, I don't know. Maybe Mr. Dole is talking extremely, technical terms, maybe, because I think the last terrorism act in this part was the Delhi High Court blast, I think 2011. But terrorism, if one part of the JNK reverberates across the country, right? I mean, and after all, look at this. What is this? This is, of course, negated that theory. It's a reality check. Yeah, it's a reality check. The other thing is that the decline in the figures of terrorism of Kashmir came down much earlier. I mean, that has been there. But the acts of terrorism have kept repeating themselves in Kashmir. It shifted from there to Jammu. There was a major anti-Jihad and the tactical shift. They were due south. Now they're more trained. They're army men, strong army men using these ammunition attacks on army personnel. Exactly. So the terrorism always changes. It adapts. And so now the sleeper cells are getting activated. This, in fact, is more dangerous. This radicalization, which if it spreads across the country, is very, very dangerous. And that's why for that you have to adopt a counter-terror approach, which is different from merely using the police or the SWAT.
Sir, in this context, how do you look at the situation in Manipur? And if we look at central India, especially in Chhattisgarh and adjoining states, as far as the problem of Naxalism is concerned. So what is your take on this?
See, first on Naxalism, I must say that this government has done great work. Great work because Home Minister has been hands-on. He has been visiting the places. He has been boosting the morale of the security forces. That's very good. And he gave them also a time, 2026. But the admirable work has been done by the Chhattisgarh forces and the state forces, whether it's Andhra, Gadchiroli, in Ranchi. And amazing work was CRPF and the state police. And after the killing of Hidma, right, and that also the most significant part of Hidma killing is that he had to leave his, home, Abu Jamal, Sukma area, and move to Andhra. And there is the place where he was killed, which means that he had to escape from his own fortress. So, yes, Naxalism is on the wane. Now there is, I think, the remaining cadres want to surrender. There is a difference between February or January, but the space and the vacuum which has been left behind has to be seriously worked upon. The public delivery system, schools, hospitals, etc. have to move in to fill the vacuum. If it's not, then we'll have the same grievances coming back again. So yes, success there. In Manipur, I think the problem is a little more acute because this is also political. This is between the Kukis and the Maites. Their grievances are long-standing. They are in 53%, but only living in 13% of the land. The Kukis are there. There's a problems of, there's a clear buffer line between the two communities, and the opium, poppy, militants coming from that side, suspension of agreement. There are things still to be resolved. So I think Manipur is a work in process. It needs political sagacity and needs a very, very senior political man as interlocutor. Somebody like Gadkari, I would recommend, who would have the, respect from both sides.
So coming back to Delhi blast case, we have seen that during the course of investigation, the seized explosives were transported all the way from Faridabad to Kashmir, and then this accidental blast took place in Naugaon police station. So I want to know, was this a preventable lapse?
Well, certainly it has been handled shoddy. There's no doubt about it. I don't know what is the reason of carrying all these explosives and that also by car to Naugaon. Naugaon did a brilliant job. I mean, the SHO of that place and the SP where they cracked this case and they gave a minefield of information. I don't know which case was registered there in which they wanted to take the sample of
There is one of the suspected doctors was putting up the posters.
I know it.
Through the CCTV footage came.
No, but what it had to do with the seizure of the 2,900
Yes,
cages.
I want to know as to what are the procedures and
No, because see, the first thing is as wherever there's a terrorist act, the NIA takes over. So it was under the custody of NIA. So suppose even NIA had to take it, NIA would have taken it with full, forensic support, etc., and taken it in a plane or something like that, and a small amount. But why legally it was taken? Because the seizure was here. And what Naugaon wanted, I don't understand. So I still think that was a preventable. First, it was preventable. Second, it was handled very, very shocking. There's no doubt.
so this we have seen this comment has claimed many a time it has publicly declared that any act of cross-border terrorism will be considered as act of war. So when we look at Delhi blast incident, the investigations indicate that some Pakistan-based terrorist organization is behind it. So given the kind of threshold this comment has set, I would like to know your opinion. Does this blast qualify for act of war? That this is perhaps for the first time that this government did not blame Pakistan for this attack.
Well, let me say for the first time, there is political sagacity shown by both sides. First, the government did not jump, or the police saying that it is a Pakistan held. And second, the opposition also did not start shouting and started blaming the government for everything. So that way it is good. But if you see, it looks like a stamp of the JAM. JAM also did a vehicle-borne attack in J&K Assembly, I think in October 2001.
Way back.
Yeah. And I remember my colleague, my batchmate, Yashovardhan Azad, Kashmir. He was the first one to reach there. In fact, he got a gallantry medal too. So, yes. So, it may carry a JEM stamp. But, with just saying like this, we can't say it's a Pakistan. Right? You have to prove everything. Like in the Bombay attack, which took place, hard evidence, everything was given, from the electronic transcripts to almost about everything. Their bodies, their everything. So now in this case, as I told you, we have a lot to first complete in our investigation. Who are the handlers? What are the handlers? Is it proof? Is there electronic evidence? Is there any plan which was given? Is there a crossover? So unless you do that, you can't really say, yes, of course, Pakistan wants it. Pakistan would love it. It could be a Pakistan sleeper cell. That's another thing to say. But to lay threadbare the links, the proof, that is very important. Once that is important, then of course, the government has said the Operation Sindoor is on. So keep it right.
Thank you for explaining it. And if I may ask you, how would you evaluate Amit Shah's performance as Union Home Minister on internal security as well as border security?
Let me compare Mr. Chidambara, who I worked with also, and Amit Shah. Chidambara was a great ideologue, hands-on, brilliant, absolutely, conceiver. He came up with fantastic proposals. Amit Shah is somebody who's a man who's hands-on in implementing. He says Naxalism khatam karna hai. Ab khatam karne ke liye he goes, he has lunch with the troops, he stands on their head, he talks to them. So I like his approach,
The execution part.
the execution part. So, and you know, one thing I like about Amit Shah is he hits the professional straight. He does not go through a babu or, various PAs, nothing. He talks directly. I like that part about Amit Shah. Yes, the approaches, I don't believe in muscular approach. I don't believe in, threatening. I don't believe in not giving a statehood to Jammu and Kashmir, I think. But as a home minister, I would say that he has been fit.
So, if you had to recommend certain reforms in counter-terrorism architecture, so what immediate steps should be taken?
I think the most immediate step should be that the Prime Minister should call the chief ministers of the various states and tell them that the responsibility of de-radicalization cannot only be left to the police. It has to be an approach which has to be societal. And since you are the leader of the society, you are supposed to take initiative. Well, now, what kind of initiative? The initiative is that the CM should talk to the middle class, talk to the educated youth who don't feel themselves a part of the system, because all the functions today by every chief minister are related to votes. Is either some welfare society, is either by a particular group or a caste group or a professional group, not with the people in general. Then, for example, the institution leaders, the principals of colleges, hospitals, everywhere, they need to engage with the people and tell them that you are responsible members of the society. Any society which quietly accepts this kind of a thing is also a party to it. And therefore, the first thing in counter-terror should be to bring the people on board. It will make a tremendous difference. The first thing in counter-terror is that give the statehood to Kashmir Valley, which is the origin. Let him start a de-radicalization dialogue. Put the responsibility on these people. After all, if you are head of Jammu state, you should take the responsibility for security, take the responsibility of de-radicalization, take the responsibility of technology being infused into the police, the SWAT teams, almost everything. That is the way to go about counter-terrorism approach.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, sir.